What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and I'm coming at you guys with my Fortune Lady deck profile. And oh, this is a joy because I love the Fortune Ladies. This was the first deck I ever profiled on the channel. And ironic, right? Because you would assume it'd be Harpie Lady, but that's actually not Harpie Lady, it's Fortune Lady. And I love the Fortune Ladies. I love a lot of what they do. I love a lot of the synergy they have with each other. And I am loving this new support. So I cannot wait for this deck profile. I hope you guys enjoy it just as much as I'm enjoying doing the deck profile and having all of these Fortune Lady monsters. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, I am running 3 copies of Fortune Lady Past, 3 copies of Fortune Lady Light, 3 copies of Fortune Lady Water, 3 copies of Fortune Lady Dark, 2 copies of Fortune Lady Fire, 1 copy of Fortune Lady Wind, and 3 copies of Effect Veiler. So that's it. That is all my monsters in the main deck. Then we're going to move on to my spell cards. Give me 1 second. There we go. I'm running 3 copies of Fortune Lady Calling, 3 copies of Fortune's Vision, and 2 copies of Fortune's Future. Then for my spell cards, I am running, well, the rest of the spell cards, I'm running 3 copies of Spellbook of Knowledge, 2 copies of Allure Darkness, 2 copies of Magical Stone Excavation, and 1 copy each of Golden Sarcophagus, Upstart Goblin, 1 for 1, and Monster Reborn. So that is it for all my spells. Then to move on to my traps, I'm only running 3 copies of Fortune Lady Rewind. So that is it for the spells. That's it for the main deck. For the extra, I'm running 2 copies of Fortune Lady Every, followed by 1 copy each of Black Rose Dragon, Stardust Dragon, and Leo Keeper of Peace. Then for my Link monsters, I'm running 1 copy of Daybreaker, the Shining Magical Warrior, 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix, 1 copy of Nightmare Cerberus, 1 copy of Siriuja Skull Dread, and 1 copy of Barrel Sword Dragon. Let's call it Barrel Load Dragon. Then for the Exceed monsters, which grounds us off, I'm running 1 copy of Evil Swarm Exciton Knight, 1 copy of Abyss Dweller, 1 copy of Leviair the Sea Dragon, 1 copy of Downward Magician, and 1 copy of Slacker Magician. So there it is. That is the extra deck in full. That is the main deck in full. So let's get started. Alright. So right off the bat, we're going to talk about the 2 new Fortune Lady monsters that have been added to the game. That is Fortune Lady Past and Fortune Lady Every. Ironically enough, I thought she was going to be called Fortune Lady Future, just because it'll have a contents of both past and present and future, maybe. So hopefully in the future, maybe we'll get that. But these 2 are the newest Fortune Lady monsters, and just like their Fortune Lady kin, or just all Fortune Lady monsters in general, they gain attack and defense equal to their level times a certain amount of attack points in its hundreds. So, for instance, Fortune Lady Past is a level 1 monster. She gains 200 attack and defense times her level. So, since her level is 1, she will only gain 200 attack and defense. However, each of your turns during the standby phase, she'll increase her level by 1. Now, mind you, there are Fortune Lady cards that increase the level of a monster for up to, I believe, 3 times, but that's stacked, so it can be up to 9 times. Wouldn't advise it because it's kind of but it does help in level manipulation, and that's also another thing about Fortune Lady Past. She has the ability to banish any number of spellcaster type monsters to increase her level by 1. So while she's increasing her level by 1, she's also increasing her attack and defensive points. So that leaves you range. That leaves this archetype with tons of synchro material setup, synchro base setup, or exceed setup in literally the palm of your hands. Now let's talk about the boss monster. Her name is Fortune Lady Every. Light spellcaster, level 7 synchro monster. Her requirements for her synchro summon are 1 tuner and 1 or more non-tuner spellcaster type monsters. So, in combination with Fortune Lady Past, you can take a lot of the Fortune Ladies and synchro her to make Every. And Every is a beautiful angel. She really is. Every time, every level increases during your standby phase, you can select one face-up monster your opponent controls and banish it. Then, if this monster is in your graveyard, you can banish the spellcaster type monster from your graveyard to special summon her. And that is awesome. Oh, by the way, the special summon from the graveyard happens on your opponent's turn. So if they kill her off during the end phase, she comes right back. And she's going to come right back with some vengeance. I'm so excited for this. And it's a very funny thing because they contradict each other. You know, you see Fortune Lady Pass, she was very angry, she was very down. You know, she's wearing all this black. And then you look over and you got this Fortune Lady Every, and she's peppy, she's cheery, she's happy, she's wearing white. In some cultures, it's a signal, you know, purity and happy. And it's crazy how it's just, you know, polar opposites these cards are. But yet they work so well together that it is bananas. And also a little fun fact about Fortune Lady Every. She also looks like an adult version of Solitaire Magician. One of the older cards with the Fortune Lady. Sadly enough, she didn't get anything printed to help her support her kin. Even though she looked at as much as a Fortune Lady, she just unfortunately wasn't. But that is the two of them, so I can get them out of the way. For the rest of the supporting cast, of course, the other members of the Fortune archetype. I'm running 3 copies of Fortune Lady Light, who has the ability to such summon a Fortune Lady monster from your deck when this card is removed from the field by a card effect. So, if you want to stuff your deck with tons of cards that will remove specific monsters, go right ahead, because it helps Fortune Lady Light tremendously. Stuff like the field spell, Future Visions. You have cards like Interdimensional Matter Transporter, Compulsory Evacuation Device. You have Different Dimension Gate, Different Dimension Escape. You just have a lot of removal cards, and those are just a few off the top of my head that can interact well with Fortune Lady Light. You can also use cards like Wonder Wand and Spellbook of Knowledge to help out, because that's the additional draw powers, but they do not affect, exert her effect, unlike Magical Dimension. So that's some benefits there to her. And Rampage is one of your biggest summoners in the deck. Because next up is our draw card, and that is Fortune Lady Water, whose effect is not once per turn. That's right, a lot of the Fortune Lady cards are not once per turn effects. Let's hope that stays the same with the announcement of OTS Pack 10 or 11 having the Fortune Lady cards. So a lot of people were excited about that. But Fortune Lady Water is your draw card. She gains attack and defense equal to her level times 300. Fortune Lady Light, because I forgot to tell you guys on that. She's like Fortune Lady Past, where she gains 200 times her level. There is another Fortune Lady, that's Fortune Lady Fire, who fits on that same algorithm. But as the levels go up, more so as the monsters themselves have that bit of increase in attack and defense. For whatever 100th amount it was. You know, you have the level 1s with 200, level 1 and 2 with 200, the level 3 and 4 with the 400, and the level 5, 6, and 7 will get in 400 attack and defense times that level. So, yeah. And I'm running triples of this Fortune Lady Water because, well, draw power is real. And the draw power for the Fortune Ladies can easily be taken advantage of if you know how to play your cards right. The next monster is Fortune Lady Dark. So I was actually really considering running just 2 Dark. But I'm running Lord Darkness, so I'm going to need as many targets as I can get off of that card as possible. I think honestly, Fortunately Dark is such an underdog because Fortunately like just does a lot better. But Fortunately Dark, when a Fortunately monster destroys a monster by battle, you can just summon a monster yourself Fortunately monster from your deck. I mean from your graveyard to the field. So if you have some waters in the graveyard, bam, you put them on the board. If they kill out something, you have another water on board, bam, you put another one out, and because there's another Fortune Lady on the field other than herself, you can draw those cards off of her. So, yeah, there's a lot of utility with this, but there's also a lot of chaos variations of Fortune Ladies, because you can easily just swap in a lot of chaos monsters, and you can go from there. But I just wanted to keep it simple, I wanted to keep it chic, so I just kept it with the Fortune Ladies themselves. Fortune Lady Fire. Whenever she sets to summon due to the effects of a Fortune Lady card, target a face-up monster on your opponent's side of the field and destroy it. Then inflict damage equal to the monster's attack from your opponent's life points. So she can blow up a nice big monster like, I don't know, Judgment Dragon, and then inflict 3,000 points of damage to your opponent. And honestly enough, that actually ended up winning me a game years back. Was that Fortunately Light, I ended up destroying her, and then I got my Fortune Lady Fire out. And then she destroying the Judgment Dragon. But no, Fortune Lady Fire is a rocky monster. But I rather just run 2, because you don't want to ever draw into her. You want her to either be in the graveyard, be in the deck, or be in the banish, and then find her way back to the field and means a special summon, so she can target stuff and then blow them away. She does have to be in attack position for that effect as well, should mention that. Which kind of also backfires to her as well, because she doesn't have much attack and defensive points either. And now we move on to the last Fortune Lady, and that's Fortune Lady Wind. This is a very situational monster. Between Fortune Lady Earth and Fortune Lady Wind, who I feel got the biggest shafts, I would prefer to run one Fortune Lady Wind over running 1 Fire, 1 Wind, 1 Earth. Because it's just my thing. I mean, I can see why people want to run the Earth, because she, get your easy access to a level 6, put her on the field, synchro her away, and then all that. But fortunately, Wind helps you deal with back row. It's not the best methods of dealing with back row, but she can help you deal with back row. So when she's normal summoned, you can target up to the number of Fortune Lady monsters. No, I'm sorry, because I have enough Fortune Lady here. Yeah, so it's her level times 300 for her attack and defense. But when this card is normal summon, you destroy spell cards equal to the number of spells and traps. Yeah, you destroy a number of spell cards, spell and trap cards your opponent controls, equal to the number of face-up Fortune Lady monsters you control. So it's very, very picky of what you're destroying, how many you're destroying. And it accumulates if there's multiple Fortune Ladies, if possible. But yeah, I mean, that is Fortune Lady Wind. She may not be the strongest in terms of, stats in her summon, but she can take advantage of it easily. And then the last card in the deck is Effect Veiler. You don't have to run. Oh, excuse me, John. You don't have to run Effect Veiler. You can run any variation of hand trap you want. I wanted to fit with the Spellcaster engine, so I went with Effect Veiler, which you run Ghost Ogres and Ash Blossoms, and most people run the Ash Blossom. You run a lot of here and there hand traps. I know the last set really didn't have too many, but there are some really good cards in the game that you can take advantage of with hand trap setup if you're willing to take it, if you want to take it. But I could easily swap these out for my Ash Blossoms and Joyous Springs. I don't know any Bellas yet. I'll wait till deck Devastators. Let's move on. We're going to move on to the spells, and we're going to talk about all 3 of the Fortune Lady spell cards. So the first up is the ultra rare Fortune Lady Calling. So this does what Fortune Lady players have been asking for: a way to summon our monsters a lot faster to the board. In Fortune Calling, that's it. If you control a Fortune Lady monster, you can summon a Fortune Lady monster from your deck who shares a different name than the one you summon. But after this card resolves for the rest of the turn, you can only summon synchro monsters. So because of that restriction, it is not too bad of a card. But my God, the pool of cards you can synchro with, thanks to Fortune Lady Past, make through a synchro summon, thanks to Fortune Lady Past, is going to be amazing. The range is going to be fire with this card. And you can summon stuff like Trish, you can summon stuff like Leo, you can summon stuff like Stardust. Yeah, you got a range with this card. It's so useful if you can get the right cards together. Then we move this to the side. We have Fortune's Vision. So this card is tanky, but with some very beneficial defenses. When this card is activated, you can add a Fortune Lady card from your deck to your hand. Then, once a turn, each of the effects can activate. They're only used once a turn. The first effect is if a monster you control is removed by a card effect, except during the damage step, you can make your monsters immune, to being destroyed by card effect, which is great because it protects a lot of things you don't want to deal with, especially if you do have Future Vision. So I really do need to go find me some Future Vision so I can really get this deck going. The other effect is if your opponent banishes a card through a card effect, your next battle's damage is turned to 0. So it's a defensive card, it's an offensive card in terms of effects, but it is also the search card for the Fortune Ladies. In the search effect is similar to the effects of Hysteric Sign, where when it's activated, it goes off automatically. Luckily enough, unlike Hysteric Sign, the other effects can still trigger, but they're both once per turn. So not too bad there. And then the last card we're going to talk about is Fortune's Future, the draw card for the Fortune Ladies. So the Fortune Lady monster that has been banished to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. I'm sure that's what the it's going to probably say select one Fortune Lady monster. Select one Fortune Lady monster that is banished, send it to the graveyard, draw 2 cards. Just like this card says, select one remove from play Fortune Lady monster and return it to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. Yu-Gi-Oh! And this wording is weird, but I pretty much jumped the bases of that. So that is them. 3 callings, 3 visions, and 3 features. Then, for the rest of the spells, because we're going to talk about them, Spell Book of Knowledge is pretty much a great draw card for spellcaster decks. I'm not running Blue Boy. I mean, I can run Blue Boy if wanted, but I think honestly just drawing into this is enough, and then not having to wait so much to roll out one effect to get another effect. You can also try to run the Spellbook spell card, Spellbook of Secrets, if you want to just search it out. But those are for variations of decks of other variations. But this can help with Fortunately Light, because you can send her to the graveyard and it'll trigger her effect. And she can still summon another Fortune Lady monster from the deck. You just take a lot of advantage with this card. But it is a once per turn effect, so be careful. Allure Darkness. I got like 6 darks in the main deck. Banish one of them, draw 2 cards, banish one of them. I think the 2 of is a great algorithm because I'm not running too many darks. And I don't want to end up losing my hand because I don't have much recovery for hand cards. So that is double Allure Darkness. Where are we going to now? Oh, we got to talk about Magical Stone Excavation. Why in the world am I running Magical Stone? Magical Stone is actually a little bit more beneficial because sometimes you'll get those dead hands. What you can easily do with that is discard 2 of those dead cards and then get a spell card in the graveyard. There's a ton of spells you can easily get off of this, but funny enough, what you would consider dead cards actually can be even more live in the graveyard as well. Because with the Fortune Ladies, because of the effects of Fortune Lady Pass, she can easily help you set that up and get a lot of your spells and traps to the graveyard through her effect. And banish a lot of your spellcasters from her effect, and you can flip that Fortune's Rewind. And then keep stuff going there. It's a really good card. I remember seeing Harpie King play Magical Stone Excavation. But I'm lacking in draw power, so I really do have to bump up the Magical Stone. But it'd probably be just one of those one-ofs. Speaking of one-ofs, let's talk about all my other one-ofs. We got the Golden Sarcophagus to search the deck for specific cards, and for 2 turns we can banish it. If I had Necro Face, and this would really be a good variation of an update to my my Fortune Ladies, because everyone knows the whole thing with Necro Face and Gulpsark. If you don't know it, here's a quick example. Necro Face, when it's removed from play, Removes the top 5 cards of both players' decks uh, from the game, or in turns, banish. Then, if this card is normal summon, you select send all the cards that were banished to the deck, and then she gains attack equal to the attack of the monster of all the cards that were sent back to the deck. And a great benefit to this is that you can manage your Fortune Ladies. You play Fortune's Future, send it to the graveyard. You can thin out your deck for Fortune's Future. Heck, you can thin out a lot of stuff with Golden Sarcophagus. The 2 turns, but for the most part, you just have a lot of ways to get through this stuff and get to stuff as fast as possible. So Golden Sark is just one of those. We have Upstart Goblin to help with that additional draw power. Even it means giving your opponent additional 1,000 life points. And then we have 2 of this deck's supporting special summons cards in the forms of 1-for-1 and Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn just has a ton of targets that it can help out. 1-for-1, good discard outlet card, and also a good way to get Fortunately Light or Fortunately Passed onto the board, so you can benefit from it. The last card in the main deck, of course, is my Fortune Rewind, Fortune Lady Rewind, which just summons as many Fortune Ladies from your banished zone to the that were banished from the game to the field with different names. The combinations you can get off this. You can go into stuff like Siriuja. You can go into Barrel Sword off of this card, and then get a lot of your other supporting casts and effects and stuff, especially cards. What is it? Oh, Fortunately Water. Excuse me. It's one of the big ones I want to be saying, because the draw power is real when it comes to Fortune Ladies, and to even enhance it makes it just mwah. And it is just amazing what this card can do. It's very much a combination of Return for the Different Dimension, but it's the hysteric party of the Fortune Ladies in that sense, because they love to use a lot of the banish, so why not give them that advantage of it? And that takes me out of the main deck. I've already talked about Fortune Lady Every, but just to give you a glimpse, of course, she is the boss monster for the Fortune Ladies, and I'm running 2 of her. Like I said, if I can get the 3rd one soon, great. But I love rocking 2. It's not too bad. My lineup of Synchro monsters, this can vary to anyone. You can run Stardusts, you can run Synchron. Heck, if you can try to fit in that whole setup for a Shooting Star Dragon if it's possible. But I just wanted something to fill in. I wanted something to just put together, and I feel with the defenses of a Stardust Dragon can help out. Black Rose has her ability to wipe the board, and Leo just says haha to anything that would try to target him, except during the main phase too. But at that point, you have this giant dog lion on the field with 3,100 attack. I said dog, I did not even call him a dog, but yeah, you got a lot of your range here with these guys. And you can range with any other Synchro monsters you want to, but those were just the ones that I picked out. Then we have Daybreaker, the Magical Warrior, who works well with Spellcaster decks. When he special summons, he gains counters, and he can spend 2 counters to destroy a card on your opponent's side of the field. He points bottom left, bottom right, which is a typical thing for a lot of Link monsters. The other thing about him, he does require 2 spellcasters, and then there is the whole thing of every time a spellcaster is special summon, he gets a counter onto himself, and he gains 300 attack for each counter. So it's not too bad of a card, but I think one of was just enough. I'm running my little variation of the Nightmare Engine in the forms of Phoenix and Unicorn. Phoenix to help me take out spells and traps. Unicorn to help me take out monsters. When they're co-linked to stuff, I get to draw a card when they activate their effects. So, really neat and really hefty thing. Then we move on, of course, to the big guys themselves, Sariuja and Barrel Sword Dragon. Which I love playing these variations of monsters in the Fortune Ladies. You have such access to a lot of their cards themselves. And then you can help, like with Sariuja, you have hair correction. Excuse me. If you can't get your, if you want to run Phantasma and can afford it. Then you have Barrel Sword Dragon, who can just take out monsters. He's, makes himself immune to a lot of things. Just a really beefy monster. So Got a Siriuja that is Barrel Sword. And then to talk about the Exceed monsters. Similar to Black Rose Dragon, Exciton Knight to help clear the board. A big benefit to it is, of course, fortunately light, because then she can trigger her effect. We have Abyss Dweller to help deal with graveyard effects, because a lot of them can be very nasty. So Dweller helps with that. And also, funny enough, Dweller gains attack and defense for each, for each material that's water. So, fortunately, water would basically make this thing like 2,500 attack. Is it 500 attack for each? Yeah, 500 attack for each. He's already starting at 17. So, about 27 points. Not too bad. And then I'm running the Leviator to Sea Dragon because, well, I am banishing stuff, so why not take advantage of that as well and get some use out of that. And then the Downer Magician, Slacker Magician combo is simply just because Slacker Magician is a good one of level 1 monster, but Downer Magician, if you can place her on top of a rank 3 or lower Exceed monster, and she will have their material become her material. When she has material, she can attack your opponent's monster and inflict piercing damage to your opponent if the defense of that monster is less than the attack of this monster. And after the damage step, she attaches the material from herself. So even though that's not too big of a thing, there are cards that you can easily benefit off of Downer Magician. And it's like a Magician just says she can't be destroyed by battle or a card effect once a turn. Yeah, once a turn. And she'll attach the material from herself to do such. So that's pretty much it. You can make the extra deck as flexible as you guys want to. I just flexed it around to make it how I felt I wanted to play around with it. Probably a little different later on. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that bell. And I will catch you guys next time. HGJ, signing out. Take care.